What's up, Tailgaters? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Tailgate Nate. Today we're going to be doing another schedule preview and record prediction. And this time we're going to be doing the 2020 Ohio State Buckeyes. Ohio State in 2019 was such a dominant team. Justin Fields could beat you with his arm or with his legs. They had a great wide receiver core. J.K. Dobbins was amazing. And then on the other side of the ball, Chase Young was just a beast. Their linebacking core was amazing. Their defensive back four was one of the best in the country. But their season abruptly came to an end after they lost to Clemson in the playoff semifinal. Justin Fields threw an interception to seal the game for Clemson. What a game that was to watch. It was a great game. Clemson came back a little bit. At the end, it was very back and forth, and Clemson was able to pull out the win there. So Ohio State is looking to rebound in 2020 with another playoff appearance and a possible national title. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Buckeyes schedule. All right, here it is. Here's Ohio State's schedule. Not the easiest schedules. You have a couple games there where Ohio State could lose one. But before we go ahead and look at the schedule, if you look down at the bottom of your screen, there's their 2019 record. They went 13-1, of course, with the only loss being the Clemson. They were Big Ten champions, number 2 seed in the playoffs that year. Up at the top of your screen, you're going to see our little key. The home games for the Buckeyes are going to be in red, and the away games are going to be in gray. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into Ohio State's schedule. We're going to start at the top there, and their first game of the year is against Bowling Green. Bowling Green, not really one of the better teams on Ohio State's schedule, that's for sure. They're from the MAC. It's not a very good conference. I don't have to say a lot about this one. Ohio State should beat Bowling Green real easily. Well, the next game, oh boy, do I have a lot to say about that one. This is probably where game day is going to go. It's going to be a top 10, possibly even a top 5 matchup. It's a top 5 matchup in my book, and it's Ohio State going on the road to face Oregon. What a game this is going to be. The difference for me in this game is the quarterback play. Both defenses are going to be really good. Both the defensive backcourts are going to be really good. Both the front sevens are going to be really good. Both teams' running games are going to be really good. You have Trey Sermon for Ohio State, C.J. Verdell for Oregon. Both their wide receiver cores are going to be good. Of course, Ohio State lost guys, but they're bringing in Julian Fleming. They have Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson. And then all of Oregon's wide receivers are coming back. So there's going to be an experienced course of wide receivers. But the difference, as I've said before, is the quarterback play. Justin Fields, probably a lot of people's favorites to win the Heisman. And then on the other side, you have Tyler Show. No one really knows what Tyler Show is capable of, especially since we didn't have the spring game. So that's the difference for me in this game. I think this is going to be a great game. I'm going to give Ohio State the early win here. I'm going to say maybe right now they win by maybe a touchdown. I think it's going to be like maybe a 7 to 10 point win for Ohio State, somewhere in that range. But I think Ohio State will get it done on the road. Next, they have to face another opponent out of the Mid-American Conference, or MAC for short. It's Buffalo again. I don't have to say a lot about this one. Just a huge talent gap. Ohio State should easily handle Buffalo. Like four or five touchdown win. It's going to be a blowout in Columbus. They get another game in Columbus. They have to face Rutgers. And again, there's not much I'd say about this one, although I am going to say is Rutgers does have Greg Schiano back at head coach. Rutgers is going to be a little bit better this year, still in my opinion, the worst team in the Big Ten. But they're going to get a little bit better. And I think it'll take some time before Rutgers gets back into some bowl game shape. But for right now, again, Rutgers, still the worst team in the Big Ten. Ohio State should have no problem with this one at home. Then you have your bye week, which if you're an Ohio State fan, this is not where you want to have your bye week. You'd rather have your bye week before the Penn State game, maybe even before the Michigan State game. You don't want your bye week, and no team wants their bye week this early in the season, but that's what Ohio State is going to have to overcome and deal with. So they get their bye week after they play Rutgers. Now, this next stretch of games is very interesting. They get Iowa at home. Now, I think every Buckeye fan remembers what happened the last time they played Iowa. It was a blowout at Kinnick Stadium. I think JT Barrett threw 4 or 5 interceptions in that game. Of course, you get the incredible pick from Justin Jackson in that game. Everyone remembers that highlight. But I don't think, and I know Iowa has proven to be a consistent top 25 team. They've proven to be a consistent 8-4, 9-3 team. But I just don't see Iowa beating Ohio State at home. I mean, you're losing your quarterback, Nate Stanley. You're losing A.J. Epinesa. You're losing so many other guys on both sides of the ball. I don't see it. I don't see Iowa pulling off the upset. I think Ohio State should easily win this one, maybe by 20 or more points. Then you get Ohio State's second road game of the year. They ought to go on the road to Michigan State. Of course, Michigan State bringing in the new head coach. They're bringing in Mel Tucker from Colorado. I had to think about his name there for a second. Of course, Mike D'Antonio stepped down, so Mel Tucker is coming in. And I think we need to give Mel Tucker a couple of years. I think Michigan State's definitely going to be in the bottom half of the Big Ten this year. I don't think Michigan State is going to be that good. Michigan State might not even make a bowl game. I think you're going to have to give Mel Tucker a little bit of time. And because of all that, again, just a huge talent gap between Ohio State and Michigan State. I remember when these games were college game day games, but now they're not really all that great. So Ohio State should be able to beat Michigan State quite easily. All right, this is another game everyone's talking about on Ohio State's schedule. It's against the Penn State Nittany Lions. Now, in previous years, Penn State and Ohio State have really gone at it. In 2017, Ohio State had to come back against Penn State in the Horseshoe. 2018, they had to do it again in the Whiteout in Happy Valley, another comeback win for Ohio State. And last year, Ohio State just dominated every facet of the game against Penn State. It was still only an 11-point win, but Ohio State, if you were to watch that game, really controlled that game. This year, I think as of right now, it's a 55-45 game in favor of Ohio State. And I'm going to tell you why. Both quarterbacks are pretty good. I think Justin Fields is better than Sean Clifford, but both of the quarterbacks are pretty good. Both of their run games are going to be pretty good, or both are going to be pretty good. Of course, you have Journey Brown for Penn State and Trey Sermon, as I mentioned, for Ohio State. And then you're going to have Master Teague to back up there. Tight ends, of course, Penn State gets the win on that one. You have Pat Freiermuth versus Jeremy Ruckert. Pat Freiermuth obviously wins that battle. It's the wide receivers for Penn State that give me a little trouble to give Penn State the win in this one. If Penn State can find a reliable wide receiver to replace KJ Hamler and to match with what Ohio State brings in with Olave Wilson and then Julian Fleming, I think Penn State has a terrific shot and might even be favored in this game. But until that point, I have to give Ohio State the win. Both the defenses are going to be evenly matched, but it's definitely going to be the wide receiver play in Happy Valley, and I'm going to give Ohio State the win. Close, maybe a 3 to 6 point win for Ohio State there in Happy Valley. Then they go back home for 2 games. They get to play Nebraska first on Halloween. It's going to be really exciting. Everyone's going to be dressing up in the Horseshoe. It's going to be a great atmosphere. I really want to jump on the Nebraska hype train. I have no idea how bad I want Nebraska to be good, but I think Nebraska is going to improve this year. I think they're going to make a bowl game this year. But when you look at their schedule, their last 5 games are just brutal, and it starts here with Ohio State. And I got to tell you, there's no way Nebraska can beat Ohio State in the Horseshoe. It's been complete domination in the series for a little bit with Ohio State beating Nebraska. And again, this year is going to be no different. Ohio State gets a win against Nebraska on Halloween night or day, whatever time they play. Next, they have to go play Indiana. They're going to stay at home in Columbus. Now, recently, Ohio State and Indiana have had some really good games, and then Ohio State's kind of pulled away at the end. But last year, Ohio State just had complete domination over Indiana. Complete domination. I believe the only touchdown Indiana scored was off a trick play that no one, not even the fans, saw coming. No player on the field, I'm sure, saw it coming. So Indiana deserved to have that touchdown, but then the final score was like 51-10, and that was in Bloomington. I think Indiana can surprise a lot of people this year. I think they can be a solid 8-4, maybe even 9-3 team if they could pull off an upset against Penn State, Michigan, or even this game here against Ohio State. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think Ohio State should win this one. I think it'll be closer than a lot of people think. Maybe like a 14-point game, like 10 to 14-point game, but I think Ohio State will get the win. Then they got to go on the road to play Maryland. I think we all thought Maryland could be something special last year with, I believe, some crazy like 169 points in their first 2 games. It was something crazy like that. I don't think it was that high, but they scored like 140-plus points in their first 2 games. They beat, at the time, a ranked Syracuse, and Syracuse proved to be awful. Then Maryland became a 3-9 team. Maryland, I don't have to say any more about this one. I think Ohio State, again, just such a big talent gap between Ohio State and Maryland. I think Ohio State will get the win. The next game, they have to go on the road to play Illinois. So Illinois was the team that upset Wisconsin last year. And to me, I think it could be a trap game for Ohio State. Of course, if they look ahead to Michigan, they didn't do that last year because they had Penn State the week before. But this is different. They have Illinois. I think they might overlook Illinois. I think Illinois could be a solid 7-5, maybe even 8-4 team. Illinois has been improving year after year. I believe they went 7-5 last year, and then I believe lost in the Red Box Bowl to California. Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting season to watch for Illinois, but I don't think Illinois can beat Ohio State. I think it'll be closer than the experts think, but I think Ohio State will still get the win. Then, of course, the final game of the season that's always on at noon Eastern time. It's Ohio State and Michigan, the game, possibly the greatest rivalry in all of sports. And yes, that is a biased opinion. But Michigan is losing so much. Michigan's losing their 1-2 punch at running back. They're losing their quarterback. I believe McCaffrey is going to be Michigan's quarterback next year. I don't see how Michigan can beat Ohio State here. I know it's the game, and I know everyone's going to give 110%. But with Ryan Day's coaching ability, and Michigan hasn't beaten the Buckeyes in the Horseshoe since 2000, I think Ohio State will get the win against Michigan. And I think ultimately Ohio State will make it back to the Big Ten championship game. All right, so with all that being said, my prediction for the 2020 Ohio State Buckeyes is the perfect 12-0. I don't see them losing anywhere. I see a lot of games being close, but I see a couple games being close, but I do not see Ohio State losing a single game. So now let's move on to the record range. This is where I take this team's worst case scenario and their best case scenario, and I put it down there. And I think the worst Ohio State could do is 10-2. Of course, those 2 losses being to Oregon and Penn State. Again, if Tyler Show becomes the next big thing, Oregon could beat Ohio State at home. And then if Penn State finds a good wide receiver, this might be the year that Penn State finally gets Ohio State. I know they beat them in 2016, but this might be the year where, as a ranked team, Penn State beats Ohio State. And then, of course, the best case scenario, this is my prediction, they're going to go 12-0. I just don't see them losing anywhere. I think the talent gap between them and all the teams on their schedule, it's there, and it's definitely greater for more teams than others. But for teams like Oregon and Penn State, the talent gap's a lot smaller, but there's still a significant talent gap between Ohio State and Oregon and Ohio State and Penn State. So there you have it. That's going to do it for my 2020 schedule preview and record prediction for the Ohio State Buckeyes. If you enjoyed, please leave a like. Also consider subscribing if you're brand new to the channel. And put a comment down below. What do you think Ohio State's going to go this year? What are your predictions for the 2020 Ohio State Buckeyes? Let me know what you think. And until next time, play hard, tailgate harder. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.